Hi and welcome to Let's Start Playing. My name is Henry and today I'm going to be teaching you how to play War Chest. War Chest is a game for 2 to 4 players and it takes place on this battle board here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to play a 2-player game. When playing War Chest 2 players, the arena only takes part in this light brown area here. These dark brown areas are for a 4-player game only. At the start of a normal game of War Chest, players will be asked to draft cards. A first player will be randomly selected and asked to select one card to begin. These cards are going to represent the units you can use in battle. During a game of War Chest, each player will get 4 different unit types to marshal around the board. In this draft phase at the start, you'll be able to develop a strategy by picking strong synergies of units together. So to start the draft, I'm going to select this cavalry unit. And units have different abilities based on the cards here. The number below the symbol of the unit is how many of the chips that exist in the game. So cavalry have a total of 4 chips, and I believe all the units vary between 4 and 5 chips, at least for the base game. Each unit will also have a special tactics associated with them. For the cavalry, their tactic is that they can move and then attack in the one action. Some units may not have tactics but special rules, as the scout can be deployed anywhere adjacent to a friendly unit. Let's go through the draft phase so I can show you the rules of the game and all these strategies will make sense on these cards. So I'm going to select this cavalry to begin. My opponent has just drafted the scout and the archer, and we can see that they've been drafted by the black symbol on both of these cards. I will now recruit the crossbowman to give myself some range, and the knight. That gives me a total of 3 units. My opponent will draft 2 more, and then I'll get to pick 1 more left. Now that that's completed, this is what most of the game is going to look like. On the board here, we have some locations. 2 will be marked in your colour and 2 in your opponent's, and these will be the same locations every time you play. And the goal of the game is to turn 6 of these locations into your colour. You can see we've both got 4 markers in reserve. I've got 6 Wolfcock tokens and they've got 4 Raven markers in the reserve. The first player to place all of these tokens onto the board will win. Alternatively, if you completely destroy the opponent's troops, you will also win the game. At the start of the game, each player gets 2 copies of each of the chips in each of the units that they drafted at the start of the game, and these go into a bag. As there's no bag in this version, we can look at it here, and this tells me the number of coins in the bag, and these are the distribution of the coins in the bag. We have 1 horse in the bag, 2 crossbowmen, 2 royal knights, and 1 wolf token. Now each player will have 1 generic token in their bag, which doesn't represent any of the unit types. The reason why we've got 0 knights and only 1 horse in the bag is because I've drawn my starting hand and these are located here. So these are out of my bag and in my hand ready to use for this round of play. During a round, you will select one of the chips to play from your hand and activate it in a number of different ways. One of the ways will be to place it onto the board, and your chips can only go onto the board in locations that are empty that you control. You control locations that have your marker on it. So in this case, I control this location and this location. And these green symbols are locations that me and my opponent can control by doing the control action with a unit on that location. We can also control each other's locations. In that case, I would remove my opponent's marker and then replace it with one of my markers. Remember, these dark brown areas are only for 4-player games, so these are not accessible in 2-player. I'm going to start by playing this knight, and I'm going to play it onto one of these locations. At this moment, I have 3 actions I could do with the knight. 1 is to place it in the location. 2 is to recruit one of these chips and add it to my discard pile, which will be here. That means next time I shuffle my bag, once my bag gets empty of the 6 tokens in it, I'll have more copies of that troop for future turns. And the third thing I could do is pass. Passing simply discards the token and passes play to my opponent. For now, I'm going to recruit this knight and place it onto this location here. I have a chance to either restart my turn or end my turn at this stage. I'm going to end my turn. And now my opponent will have an opportunity to play one of their 3 units, and we can see how many chips they're holding here. We also get information on the distribution of chips possibly in their bags. We don't know exactly because they haven't played any of their chips and these are hidden information. But we know their starting distribution was 2, 2, 2, 2. So my opponent just played an archer to this location here. If we mouse over the archer, we can see what the archer does and the special rules associated with it. I'll explain these in more details a bit later. For now, I'm going to show you how else you can activate your chips. We now have a few more options available to us now we have a chip on the board. One of the options that we could do is to use this chip and use it to bolster this chip on the board. Bolstered chips are chips that have more than one chip on the same location. And the good thing about bolstering is that it gives this unit more staying power. So when you get attacked in War Chest, you will lose one chip off the board. If your unit is bolstered, you'll only lose the top chip on the bolstered stack rather than the entire unit. If you were to lose the entire unit, you would actually get removed from the board, and then for me to get that unit back on the board, I would have to play it back onto one of these golden locations that I control. The other thing I could discard this chip for is to move this chip on the board and move it closer to one of these locations or my enemy. To do that, I would need to unselect this token and then select the token on the board, and now I can move it to one of the locations in range. The knight can only move one space, so any of these locations are valid. For now, I'm going to move the knight into this location. And you can see I've discarded my knight token and put it into a discard pile over here. This will get shuffled back into your bag. Once you're unable to draw any more tokens from your bag, you will shuffle your discard pile back into it and then draw up to 3 at the end of each round. Let's look at recruiting a unit. Instead of playing this cavalry onto the board, I'm going to use it to recruit another knight, to add more knights into my bag so I can move around this knight faster in future turns. To do this, I'm going to click on the knight, and it's going to put my horse token face down on the discard pile. This means that my opponent doesn't know that I've used the knight token. This can be important as they can plan strategies based on how many knights they think I have left in my bag, knowing that I may not be able to move it in the future. Putting it face down like this means that my opponent never knows exactly what's in my bag and what's going to come out in future rounds. You can see also that I've drawn an additional knight from this pile and placed it into this discard pile over here. This is the beginning of the second round. Now on this round I've drawn this royal coin token. Each player will have a royal coin in their bag. The royal coin is basically works the same as a unit, but you can't place it out onto the board. So you can use it to recruit other units, you can use it to pass, and there's one more action I haven't shown you yet, but this can be done with any chips, which is to take the initiative token. In the first round I had the initiative token, but my opponent took it off me. So now that he has it, the initiative token can move once per round between the players. So if I take the initiative token now, my opponent cannot take it back off me during this round. And what the initiative token lets me do is, at the beginning of next round, I'll get to take the first turn. When you take the initiative token, you discard whatever chip you used face down into this pile over here. Okay, so I've just jumped ahead in this game so I can show you some of the other actions that you can take. One of the actions that we can take is to attack a unit. My knight here is in range of 2 units, as the knight is a melee unit, and to attack with my knight I would select it on the board, and then it would be just like moving, where I just click on the unit to attack it. And when I attack a unit, I will remove one of its chips from the board. So if I was to attack my opponent's scout, it would be completely removed from the board. When the unit is attacked, their chip gets removed from the game entirely, killing one of those unit's chips forever. This is one of the ways that you can win the game, by reducing down all of your opponent's chips down to none. The same thing would happen if I attacked this archer, however you can see there's a number 2 next to it. This archer is bolstered, so I would only kill one of the 2 chips if I was to attack this archer. Some units attack in different ways, like this archer here. This archer can only attack a unit up to 2 spaces away. It can't, however, attack melee, due to that bottom line that says the archer can only attack by using this tactic. The good thing about the archer is that it's able to fire over top of units that may be in the way. So if this archer was located here, it could fire over this scout and attack the knight. However, it only has a range of 2. This crossbow here can also attack at range, and it can attack up to 2 spaces away in a straight line. The crossbow can also attack in melee because it has the restriction of the archer saying it can only attack by using this tactic. The bad thing about the crossbowman, however, is that it cannot shoot over units in front of it, so it has to be a clear line of sight. Let's complete this attack, and I'm going to attack the scout. As you can see, the scout was removed from the board. Let's look at the one other action we haven't spoken about in this game, and that is to control a point. To control a point, you need to be on one of these green locations. This crossbowman is currently situated on one of those green locations. And if I have a crossbowman chip and I select my crossbowman, I can use that chip in order to capture that location, placing one of my 6 golden wolf markers onto the board. If that was the 6th token I just placed out, that would immediately end the game and I would be the winner. Units will give you an explanation of how they work and how to activate them in Board Game Arena. Read through the text and it will tell you whether or not you need to click the unit on the board or a token in your supply to activate that effect. I hope you've enjoyed this video. My name is Henry and this has been Let's Start Playing. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and good luck playing War Chest. Let me know if you'd like to see a video on the 2 expansions for War Chest as well. Thanks for watching.